Hello, my little duckies, and today I want to talk about a movie we just saw. Next to me is one of my good friends, Chris Cahill. Say hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Alright, why do you and Marco say the same fucking joke?
It's a dumb joke.
It's such a dumb joke. Camera work's gonna be a little off here. Chris, what movie did we see tonight?
That would be the Justice League.
Justice League. A movie I think a lot of DC fans have been waiting their whole lives to see on live action. And we're going to try to be as non-spoiler as possible. And we actually have an interesting fact with Justice League, because me and Chris did go to film school many years ago. And we never actually collaborated on anything except for 5 years ago. We started writing a Justice League trilogy just for shits and giggles. And I remember our trilogy, the first movie was Darkseid, second movie was Brainiac, and the third movie was going to be Legion of Doom.
Right.
And the first movie was Darkseid came to Earth in search of Brainiac. He wasn't coming to destroy the Earth, he just wanted Brainiac. And Brainiac was being hidden by Lex Luthor and so on. A lot more intricacies. And we started writing that years ago before
Man of Steel.
Before the film universes actually took off. So when they announced this, I was a little upset because I want to see the movie I wrote, you know? Not like Warner Brothers has the script, but, you know, Warner Brothers called me. It really was a good script, I'm telling you.
Good Flash origin.
It was a Flash origin. Yeah, it was basically a Flash origin. And the second one was a Shazam origin.
Right.
Because the second one was going to be Brainiac doing a Tower of Babel.
Yes, exactly.
A Tower of Babel thing, because Bruce Wayne and Lex Luthor had a partnership in the first movie at the beginning. And the second movie was going to be Brainiac doing the Tower of Babel, and Shazam would have to save the day because that's the only person Brainiac would have no information on.
Exactly.
And the third one, we just didn't get the concept going on that one. But whatever. So when this Justice League movie gets announced, I was a little upset. Because they didn't use my fucking script, you know? They didn't use our script. So I'm a little pissed off. Like, I wrote that script. It took me, you know, months.
We hit first draft stages.
It was first draft, but whatever.
We had a story.
There was a lot of time I should have been doing my job at work. I was writing that script. And many other scripts I've written instead of worked. But let's talk about Justice League, because honestly, when it comes to the DC films, it gets a bad rap. A lot of it is because, let's be honest, they are playing catch up with Marvel.
Of course.
And Marvel is 22 films in right now. DC is now 5? Man of Steel, B vs. Us, Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, now Justice League. So, you know, but I think a lot of people romanticize all the Marvel films, because we got to remember, for every, you know, Iron Man, for every Winter Soldier, there's Iron Man 3 and Thor the Dark World. Alright, so let's not say every Marvel movie was great. But now this movie, I was excited for. I don't know about you.
It took me a while, but yeah, I definitely got excited at the end.
Okay. And honestly, you know, the whole thing with Rotten Tomatoes, which is funny because Warner Brothers owns a part of them,
right, but
they hate Warner Brothers films. And Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 43%. Okay. JoeBlow.com gives it a 7 out of 10. I'm going to go with Joe Blow on this one.
I agree.
Like, if you like Superman, you're going to like this movie. If you like the Superman character from, like, the comics, you know, hope, you know, justice, truth, the American way, whatever the fuck his catchphrase was, you're going to like this movie. If you love the Justice League cartoon from the early 2000s, the Timverse Justice League,
definitely.
The Timverse Justice League, you're gonna love this movie.
Definitely a lot of nonsense.
Because it reminded me of that, even the way Batman was.
Yeah.
Like, I could just imagine Kevin Conroy saying those lines.
Exactly.
Like, even Batman has a couple one-liners, but it's not out of character. Like, it's not out of character for his one-liners. I think the Flash definitely stole it.
Right.
The Flash, Ezra Miller was fucking amazing. But there are negatives. As much as I love the action in the film, there's some negatives, some pretty big negatives actually. First and foremost, Henry Cavill's upper lip.
And right out the bat too.
Right out, that's the first thing you see. That's a spoiler right there. But the first thing you see, he's not resurrected. It's just I don't know.
It's a flashback.
The first couple scenes were weird because the first couple scenes kind of didn't play into the story at all, and they could have been missed.
Yeah.
Like Henry Cavill at the beginning, it wasn't a flashback that you saw. It had nothing to do with him being in the field. It was footage that was never shown in another movie, but before he died, a little kid interviewing him, right? And the first thing you notice is his upper lip. And then the Wonder Woman introduction scene had no connection to anything in this story. Like, it was a good action. Everyone's seen that
It's a
scene.
great action scene, but
Everyone's seen the scene already. But it had no connection to the story, so I felt like that could have been cut. They could have probably spent a little more time on Cyborg, because Lord knows they didn't spend enough CGI time on him.
Yeah, and I don't know, part of his storyline or his character arc was lacking.
His character arc was lacking, and they say they're making a movie for 2020, but like, okay, I don't know what they're gonna do. Aquaman was funny.
Oh, he was great.
Now people say, "Oh, Aquaman's not a surfer dude. You know, he's like this proud king." Newsflash: if anyone's read Aquaman from the 50s, he wasn't, you know, the proud. He wasn't Namor. Like the way he is now, he's Namor.
Right.
I hate surface dwellers. That's Namor's thing. Aquaman was originally like boastful and brash. He was like him and Superman. He was always, that was the Aquaman we wrote in our movie, was a guy who was like, you know, always bragging about his great adventures and the things he's done. Right. That was Aquaman original, and this was kind of close to it, just, you know, today, modern day. But the CGI was definitely horrible. The CGI was pretty bad. Like, I think they did a lot of reshoots, but they didn't spend enough time on the CGI.
Really, the only bad CGI was
Cyborg. And
yeah, but it's just like the design of Cyborg more than anything.
The movement.
Steppenwolf looked really cartoony.
Steppenwolf looked really cartoony. They didn't get his face at all.
Right, it didn't look realistic. It looked like
it's like he looked like Liam Neeson though. He looked exactly like Liam Neeson. So now I'm starting a petition that we should get Liam Neeson to play Darkseid, because, you know, Steppenwolf is his uncle. So that makes sense.
I think they're making him and his nephew in this one.
No, they're
still keeping the uncle?
They did a cool flashback with like, you've seen the scenes where Steppenwolf is fighting like the Amazons and stuff. That was a great fight scene. That was a great introduction at the beginning too to the mascara. The fight scenes in this movie were good.
Yes.
The fight scenes in this movie were good, and it was great to see the character of Barry and his interactions with the other League members, especially Batman giving him little tips. Right. Like, basically all the League members, okay, well, maybe just Batman and Wonder Woman are mentoring him. Right. And that was great to see his growth. I think Ezra Miller really knocked it out of the park.
I think so. And it's always important to know it's that Flash has always been the heart of the team.
Yeah. And they kept it. They kept it. Like, I was worried they were going to make it too serious, but they didn't. They kept Flash funny. Cyborg could have been a little lighter. He was a little moody.
Right, but
if you're a fan of Teen Titans Cyborg, you're not getting that. You're not.
Maybe at the end.
No, not even.
Just barely.
You're not getting Teen Titans Cyborg.
But you know, it works to the point that he's discovering who he is now as a cyborg.
Yeah.
He's no longer Vic Stone, so he has to see who he is now. And so I'm pretty sure, come Cyborg movie, that we'll get more of a. Of a booyah.
I want booyah Cyborg. I definitely want booyah Cyborg. So you're not getting that. A lot of people are complaining about Steppenwolf. Like, they're saying it's a lot like Ultron. You know, here's this big bad, but he's not really a big bad, and I disagree.
No, he's definitely a big bad.
Like, Steppenwolf gets his Steppenwolf gets time in this movie. I don't know why people were saying he wasn't a big part. He was a huge part in this movie.
He was.
And he beat the shit out of everybody.
Yeah, he did.
Like, he was a big bad. And one thing I did love was the fight scenes with the League together.
Right.
Like, you're not going to get all of them together, you know. And anyone who knows, everyone knows this. You're not going to get the Justice League fighting together throughout the whole movie. Right. You know, they're always going to be splintered off with 4 or 5 guys. You never get the whole Justice League.
And even here, we didn't get the whole Justice League fighting together.
No. Or maybe we did. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to spoil anything.
Well,
but when they did fight together, it was good to see how they all had their moments. They all had their moments, and they all used what they were good at.
Right.
And once again, it was cool to see Barry, because even you see in the trailer, Barry's like, I'm not a warrior. And yeah, he proves in this movie he's not a fucking warrior.
Yeah,
but he does. He's good at what he does.
He's got a learning curve.
He's got a learning curve. The thing with Cyborg that was pretty cool was I think with Cyborg it was when he was discovering himself, like when he's discovering what his body can do now. I think that was a big arc in his story. But that's it.
Yeah. It's stuff that could have been either kept aside for the solo film, or it just felt shoehorned in.
Yeah, like it definitely was shoehorned in. Like the whole Cyborg thing was shoehorned in. Like when this movie first got announced, I understand a lot of people were like, oh, they should do origin stories for these characters.
But that's the Marvel way.
But that's not only is that the Marvel way, it's, let's be honest, no one really, you have to be a diehard comic book fan to know who the fuck Iron Man was, Captain America was, and Thor. Like, comic book fans knew that, not the average person. But the average person knows Wonder Woman, they know Superman, they know Batman.
The big three.
They know the big three. You don't need to do origin stories. We've seen it already. And, but we did need an origin story for Cyborg, because no one knows who Cyborg is.
Right.
And this movie doesn't really do a good job of explaining it. And I think that's a big problem.
Yes.
And Aquaman also doesn't get much of an explanation. People know the joke and the meme of Aquaman. Like the whole, Talk to Fish, which they play a lot in this movie, and I think it's great. But people don't know this Aquaman. They don't know the Aquaman who's not the king of Atlantis yet. They don't know that Aquaman. And I think they could have spent a little bit more time on those two characters.
I think they were so focused on getting the Justice League movie out that they said, we'll just figure it out afterwards with the other characters.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. We'll figure it out afterwards with the other characters. But also with this movie, the one thing that did bother me, someone was saying the editing was discombobulated. It wasn't.
No.
It wasn't like Batman versus Superman where it jumps here and there.
Or where there's like massive plot holes. No, I didn't really notice.
No. But what this one was, the editing felt rushed. It was a short movie. It was under 2 hours, so it's the shortest.
It is the shortest DC
movie so far. And it felt like a lot of things that you saw in the trailers were missing a lot of little points.
Yeah.
Like a lot of little scenes and little lines of dialogue that you saw in all the trailers were missing. And I was expecting them. It felt like a lot of things were edited out. It felt like there was beats that were kind of rushed. Like I said, like those first two scenes we could have done without.
Yeah.
And we probably could have filled it up with a little bit more story for Cyborg, a little bit. Like we could have done a little bit of a Cyborg origin in this, just a flashback of who Vic Stone was. But yeah, the editing was a little too fast. I felt like a lot of things were missing. The CGI was pretty bad. But if you wanted a brighter, jokier DC, you kind of got it.
A lighter mood, yeah, you definitely got it.
You got a lighter mood. I, for one, was not hoping for a Marvel. And I've always said this about Civil War. My biggest problem with Civil War was, first of all, they hijacked a Captain America movie. And Captain America was the only trilogy of Marvel that I got excited for. Because after Iron Man 2 and Thor 2, I was really much let down. Mm-hmm. And but the thing with Civil War was the big fight scene. Everyone has a one-liner.
Yep.
Everyone has a joke, and it really ruined that fight scene for me, because if they're not taking it seriously, why should I? And that's always been my problem with Marvel. It's like now you watch a movie, every 10 seconds, it's another joke.
So you'd hate Thor.
I don't know. I would love Thor just because I don't take that character seriously anyway.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. The last Thor is it's a comedy movie that has action in it.
Which is fine, because I actually like what they did, because I never liked the Thor comic book character. Because first of all, he's a Norse god who speaks like he's William Shakespeare. That's completely two different regions, like two different time periods, which makes no sense to me. And but I like what Chris Hemsworth does. Is like, Aquaman. That's basically what Thor is. It's Aquaman.
Yeah,
except with more jokes. Thor is Aquaman with more jokes.
My father-in-law actually made a mention about that yesterday, thinking that Aquaman was Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Oh, by the way, I'm not gay or anything, but I do have to say this. In this movie, you see Jason Momoa with his shirt off, and you see Henry Cavill with his shirt off. So for the ladies, you got some eye candy here. For the fellas, you got none.
No. There's,
oh no, you got
a couple.
You got the Wonder Woman ass shot. Yes,
a couple of those gratuitous ass shots there.
Yeah, there's a Wonder Woman ass shot that came out of nowhere. It's not nude. It's just her in tight leather pants.
It's just it's her suit.
It's just a weird angle.
From this angle, like from the bottom.
It's literally shot behind her ass.
Yeah,
it's Bruce Wayne and Bruce Wayne in the Flash coming down of an airplane and Wonder Woman's ass in tight red pants. It was just very awkward. But
it has to be a Zack Snyder shot.
Yeah, but you get Jason Momoa and
should be sexiest man alive,
and Henry Cavill with their shirts off, and you think, oh, Blake Shelton, sexiest man alive.
Right? Yeah.
No, not even fucking close. Like, okay. I'm just saying. I've seen the memes lately, and watching this movie, I have to agree with the ladies out there. Yeah. It's not Blake Shelton. Yeah. Like, no. But all in all. CGI was bad. The pacing was a little too fast. I feel like they missed some things. There was a couple of gratuitous things, but not going to spoil. But I will tell you, stay for the credits.
And after the credits.
You got a mid-credit scene that every comic book fan is going to love, and you have an end credit scene that everyone's going to get excited for. Basically, the end credit scene is a bit of a redemption from Batman vs Superman for one of the characters. And it teases another movie, and it is pretty much the storyline everyone wanted, but no one thought they were going to get. And I think the next movie, if it follows that storyline, is going to be awesome. I'm going to have to agree with Joe Blow on this one, though. It was a good movie. It wasn't great.
It wasn't perfect, but it's definitely a fun movie to watch.
Yeah. I mean, I still think Batman vs Superman is still my favorite, the DC movie so far. But this probably comes in third. I'm gonna have to give this one. I'm gonna go with Joe Blow on this one. I'm gonna give it 7 out of 10.
Yeah, 7.5.
Yeah, the action was great. The chemistry. The most important thing was the chemistry. The chemistry between all the actors
all the
and
leaguers,
the characters. They
feel it.
They all interacted well. It's like you kind of feel like these guys hung out together, offset all the time. Yeah. Oh, but there is one thing I gotta mention. I swear to God, Ben Affleck is trolling everyone. Ben Affleck is trolling comicbook.com and Newsreel, all those sites that post that fake news about him quitting. Because there's a couple of lines in this movie.
Looking for his graceful exit?
Yeah, looking for his graceful exit. He mentions it a couple of times in this movie. I swear that's him trolling. And so, yeah. But, like I said, non-spoiler, I'm not going to give anything else away. But I think the chemistry between the leaguers, if you wanted a brighter Superman, which I always thought was the intention. I always felt the Superman story was going to be, Superman discovering who he was, Superman coming to grips with his power in the Batman vs Superman, and now Superman realizing that, there's more to life than just being that powerful being, that there's love, there's everything, and now he's brighter, he has more people like him now. Right. So that's the thing, like he doesn't
feel alone anymore.
He doesn't feel alone anymore. Now he has like Aquaman and Wonder Woman, and you see a much like the one part with him and Cyborg at the end, which it's cool. This is the one thing about DC films, they always have these little moments that if you're not paying attention, you miss it. Like him and Cyborg, two people that died and came back. It kind of comes into play. The whole thing with him. Superman basically is every Justice League member in one. Speed of Flash, the whole thing with dying and being brought back by technology. That may have been a spoiler. But...
No, because in the comic he came back, he was in the kryptonite.
Oh, that's true. In the comic he came back by technology, yeah.
Kryptonian technology.
The strength and power of Wonder Woman, the feeling like an outsider like Aquaman, and then the sense of justice and responsibility like Batman. So Superman is pretty much the amalgamation of all the best traits of other characters, and I think that's what makes Superman one of the greatest superheroes, because he is the hero that every hero wants to be. And yeah, and I think you see it in this movie. He is the hero that every hero.
It makes it feel that the world needs Superman.
The world, yeah, you feel it. That's the one thing you do feel from the beginning, that the world is missing Superman. There was a couple of scenes that didn't make sense though, like the guy outside the store with the dog and the sign.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so Superman's gone, so now people become racist, and that kind of felt a little odd.
That and like, oh, there's hobos.
That felt a little odd. But now people are homeless, whatever.
And there's this one thing, like if you think about the Avengers and how there's that random waitress.
Oh, the girl, you know who that waitress was?
Yeah, I know, it's Chris Johnson.
The sister, the Christy.
Yeah.
Christy from Growing Pains.
Yeah.
God, we're such nerds.
But, no. But yeah, it's like, when you watch Avengers, it's like she's kind of just thrown in there and here's this random girl. And like they focus so much on her. And that also kind of happens in this movie. It's a...
I'm being Snapchatted. I'm sorry.
Where there's like this random civilians, and you follow them quite a bit throughout the movie.
But they're not random. They're not random because they're there throughout the whole movie. Not like Chrissy Johnson, she was there for one scene.
She was for that whole last section, and it makes more sense if you watch that deleted scene from Avengers where they introduce her.
Okay, I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's another Stanley cameo that got cut out.
Oh, I get it. Okay, I didn't see that. But no, this scene there is like a random family that you kind of follow.
You follow them for quite a bit throughout the movie itself.
But it's such a cool little story. They have their own story, and not one of them speaks a word.
Well, they do, just nothing in English.
That's what I mean. Not one of them speaks an American.
Not one of them speaks American.
Actually, there's no such thing as American, so not one of them speaks English. No, I don't think. Oh, they may have said it. Yes, the parents had dialogue for like one scene, I think.
Yeah, they're talking to each other and saying.
But yeah, you follow them throughout the movie, and it's actually cool. Like the little girl with the bug spray, and it's like there was a couple of awe moments. There was a couple of like awe moments, and one scene in particular. I'm not going to mention what it was, but it involves a resurrection and a mother. They missed a Martha moment. Like, they totally missed a Martha moment. There should have been a point where Lois Lane or they brought Martha back. They missed a perfect Martha moment. That would have been great.
Yeah, but I think that was on purpose just because the whole Martha thing got so much flack.
Fuck that. That Martha thing was great. People don't understand me. Like, people don't get the whole Martha thing. That was to signify that Superman is human. And that's even something that Batman says in this film. Yeah. That Superman is more human than he is.
Right.
Little spoiler. Little spoiler. Like I said, I'm going to try to give as minimal spoilers. But there's a great line. Batman even says it. Because Batman is, like when they did this movie, they wanted to do like Magnificent Seven. So it is, it's them recruiting. And Batman's like the old cowboy recruiting like these young samurai.
Yeah, they make mention,
which is completely different. He's not an old cowboy.
He's been doing it for 20 years.
He's like the old Shogun and, you know, the old samurai recruiting all these young ones. And he even says, he's like, you know, we need the other guy. Yeah. The other guy's a better human being than he's more human than I ever been.
Yeah.
But I also felt that whole little thing of, you know, bringing him back, that was super rushed. It was literally like 2 scenes and, okay.
2 scenes, argument, and then this happens. Okay.
Yeah, it was like, there was no, like, repercussion. I mean, there was a major repercussion. That was pretty cool. But there was no repercussions otherwise. It's just like, anyone who disagreed was all of a sudden on board. That felt like I said, there was a couple little things that you know they edited out, which I'm sure when they do a director's cut.
Because there will be. There's so much that they cut out.
There's so much you saw in the trailers that you didn't see in this film. But it doesn't take away. The film is enjoyable. But if you're going in there expecting, I don't even know what's it. Like,
it's not Avengers.
But you know what? I didn't like Avengers. I think Avengers was. I remember I saw Avengers twice in the theater. I remember the first time I dug it a little bit, but I felt maybe I missed something. And then no, I didn't see the second time I didn't see it in the theater. I saw it at home by myself, and I remember I had my headphones because I wanted to actually just listen to it, and I liked it better the second time.
Right.
But there was moments in that one. I think that one is just you had more time because you knew the characters, you knew the villain.
Right.
But that one to me was very Dark Knight. in meaning that the villain took the entire movie for himself. Like Loki took over Avengers, like Joker took over Dark Knight. Like I remember Avengers because of Loki, and maybe a couple of scenes with the heroes.
Okay,
This one you're gonna remember most of the scenes with the heroes.
Yeah.
Is it as good as the first Avengers? I don't know. That's up to you. I kind of put them both at 7 out of 10. It's definitely better than Avengers 2, but I think a lot of movies are.
Pretty much.
It's better than Fan 4 Stick. It's better than Fan 4 Stick, and it's better than X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, mini spoiler: there is no Darkseid in this movie. They missed a classic moment where they should have had him, but there is no Darkseid. I'm just telling you right now, don't expect it.
There's a good moment
because
they could have used the Omega beams or something.
They could have used
just a little just like the Omega symbol in BVS.
Yeah, they could have. Yeah, they could have given a nod to Darkseid. Steppenwolf mentions his name in a whisper, though.
Right, and then they mention Apocalypse, and that's it.
Yeah, basically he doesn't even mention Apocalypse. He said, "I'll bring on Apocalypse."
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't mention the planet, but Steppenwolf does mention being a new god.
Yes.
That's it. I mean,
like you mentioned the old gods and how they all died.
Yeah. So yeah. But yeah, 7 out of 10. Go. It's going to be enjoyable. Was it great? No. Was it what I hoped for? No. Like I wanted more of a Justice League movie.
Well, my expectations were low, so I came in actually enjoying the whole thing. Sure, I had some issues here and there with the CGI, some issues with some continuity that was kind of off. But for the most part, I enjoyed the film. It's definitely one of the better DC films.
Yeah, like I said, well, if you want to go with the new extended universe out of the 5 films, yeah.
Right, we're just discussing the 5 here. We're not going.
Yeah, because you want to go DC films. I mean, we have,
right, the DC.
Yeah, 51 years of history with DC films.
Right,
it's better than Steel. Catwoman. It's better than that. It's better than Iron Man 3.
Suicide Squad.
It's none of my top 10. I'll say that it's none of my top 10. Top 20 maybe. When I watch, like I said, usually I watch movies like 2 or 3 times. Because I remember one of the first movies. Me and Chris used to do this in college all the time. We used to go to movies every weekend. Like, we're film students. What else? And
embracing the craft.
One of the movies that we saw that we hated was High Fidelity.
We hated it at first.
We fucking hated
like,
High Fidelity.
This was just dumb. And then you come out thinking.
Then for the rest, like for 2 weeks straight, all we did was quote the movie. We made our own top 5 videotapes. We did everything. And we're like, wow, that movie is actually great.
Yeah, and then rewatching, like, wow, it's actually one of my favorite Cusack movies.
Yeah, it was like, I think it's the same thing. It was a cult movie, and I think that's what Batman vs Superman. I think Batman vs Superman got better ratings in the second market, on the DVD and the on-demand market.
Especially with the Ultimate Edition.
Especially with the Ultimate Edition, because now you see how smart that movie really was.
Yeah.
And I think once you watch this again, especially after an Ultimate Edition comes out, you're going to see how smart it is. Because there are a lot of little points.
That's always been the case with DC. DC's always been a very intellectual comic property.
Yeah. Not that Marvel's stupid.
No, it's just
Marvel's too Disney right now.
Oh, yeah.
It's just Marvel is, people say there's a formula in it. While it's successful and it generates income, at the end of a Marvel film, you don't sit there and think about it for a week and go, you know what? That was a good point. Like the whole thing with Batman versus Superman, like the whole Martha thing. Oh, it's so stupid, it's so dumb. It's like, it would have been better if Lois Lane would have came out and said the line, you stop, you're killing him, we need to save Martha. If Lois Lane would have said Martha. I think the only reason that line was so stupid was because Henry Cavill just called his mother Martha. Yeah. And I get he was doing it as Superman and protecting his secret identity, but Bruce Wayne already knew who he was.
Right, they already knew who they were, so it was kind of dumb that way.
But the whole point of Martha made sense because it is how they related.
Yeah.
And, I mean, granted, in the 1930s, every woman was named Martha. So it's not rare. And fuck, like, it reminds me of Iron Man. Like, Civil War, like, the same thing basically happened in Civil War. You killed my mom. And I was thinking, like, oh my god, is Iron Man's mother Martha? Because that would have been great in Civil War. It's Maria, which is like the Spanish version of Martha. So it works to me. It's
Spanish Martha.
It is Spanish Martha. It would have been a great meme. It was the year of the Marthas. But no, I'm sorry. I'm like going on here. But yeah, 7 out of 10. Watch it. It's fun. It's good. I'm sure when it comes on DVD, it's going to be a lot better.
Agreed.
And I'm sure within the next couple weeks, I'm going to think of all the little points here and there and go,
Yeah, you were
that's why.
Yeah.
Like, that's why they said that. It's good. And, like, stay for the credits. The end credits scene, you will not be disappointed with the 2 end credits scene. I'm telling you right now, if you haven't seen them online or heard about them online, because I'm sure like 80% of the people already have, but for those of you who haven't, stay for the end credit scenes. You're gonna fucking love them.
Yeah, it's definitely better actually seeing it than reading about it, because I knew what was gonna happen, but just seeing it there, just seeing about the life this is so much cooler.
Oh my god. And
especially the last one.
The last one, because you know who my 2 favorite comic book, well, my 5 favorite comic book characters are, you know, like Gambit, Nightwing, Deathstroke, Joker, and Wally West Flash.
Okay, which is what we got here.
5 favorite comic book characters. I'm just gonna say the end credit scene includes one of those guys. I'm not saying which one. I'm just gonna say it includes one of those guys.
Like you know, the thing is, like, this. You know, as a aside, this Flash was more Wally West than Barry Allen.
He was.
The only Barry Allen thing that we had was, oh, my dad's in jail.
Yeah.
And here's my backstory, and I'm
Henry Allen. All you got was Henry Allen.
That's it.
But he was very Wally. Like I said, this, if you ever wanted to see the Timverse Justice League on the big screen with human beings, you got it in this film.
It's pretty close. Yeah.
You're just missing John Stewart Green Lantern.
Martian Manhunter.
And Martian Manhunter, which I heard rumors they want to do a solo movie, which is good because Martian Manhunter is my 6th place favorite comic book.
He was in our script as well.
He was in our script. He was the detective. Yeah. He was in because our script. The way our script started was Themyscira with the Furies.
Right.
They were looking for because they were looking for Brainiac. Because the way our script was that Brainiac had the anti-life equation from all his travels and research.
Exactly, which is why Darkseid was looking for him.
Which is why Darkseid was looking for him. So they went to Themyscira first, and the Furies were there. That's how we opened that big fight scene with the Furies.
Exactly.
And because they need to put Furies, and granny goodness. And then then it starts off in Metropolis with Lex Luthor doing a press conference, and that's why you have Batman there because Bruce Wayne is meeting with him.
Yes.
And a boom tube opens because Darkseid can sense that Brainiac is there.
He's in that area, yeah.
But in that area, you know, Superman is there with Lois Lane reporting, so that's how you get Superman there. Bruce Wayne is there because he's working with Lex Luthor.
Right.
John, Martian Manhunter is a detective.
Right,
and he's being called there.
On the case.
He's on the case because he's called there with the rest of the police because of the disturbance. And Wonder Woman, I forgot how she was there. I think because Themyscira
was attacked, she came.
Themyscira was attacked and she came. Yeah, she was looking for Darkseid.
Oh, yeah.
And Barry Allen was still Barry Allen, wasn't the Flash. That was how our script started, and I remember that. And I remember in our script that Barry Allen was a fan of Jay Garrick.
Yes.
And he had Jay Garrick, and that's how he became the Flash.
Exactly. That's why he chose the Flash.
Damn, we should have written that script. Like, the more I talked about it, I was like, that was a good script.
It was.
Like, it sounds shitty hearing us talk about it, but the script was really good.
It was the whole story idea. And, you know, the big arc was actually really great, and I hadn't been excited about writing in so long until that idea came to mind, and it just flowed.
Yeah, and I think that's probably another reason this movie to me is a 7 out of 10 and not higher, is because I am comparing it to what we wrote. And I'm like, oh, what we wrote could have been so much better. Because also what we wrote didn't depend on origins, because we basically hoped that everyone would know these characters.
Yeah, by this point, everyone knows who Superman is, who Batman was.
Yeah, I mean, these guys have been around since the fucking almost 100 years now. Yeah. Like, literally, like 90, 80-something years at this point. Yeah, so... Yeah. Alright, so that's our review. Yeah. I think our next review may or may not be...
The Disaster Artist.
The Disaster Artist. Oh, my God. Maybe we should review The Room first.
I didn't hate her. I did not.
I did not. Oh, hi, Mark. You know I can't talk about that. How's your sex life? You tear me apart, Lisa. So I can't wait to see that one. All right, but 7 out of 10 for me. You said 7.5.
7.5. Yeah.
Watch the movie. I think you'll enjoy it.
You'll laugh.
You're gonna have a few laughs. I know that's gonna be weird from a DC film, but you're gonna have a few laughs, and you're gonna get it from the right characters.
Yeah.
You're gonna get it from the Flash. The Flash is gonna be your comic relief, and Jason Momoa.
Alfred's great too.
And Alfred's got his couple little snarky ass one-liners. A couple of the jokes fell flat. Like a couple of jokes, mostly because you heard it so many times in the.
It's kind of dad jokes.
In the trailer, you hear it so many times, so it kind of falls flat. But some of the lines in the trailer, they got really big laughs.
Yeah.
Like a couple of lines in the trailer, like,
it's like, you know this is coming. It's still
good.
The delivery works.
The delivery works because you didn't get the setup. But yeah, I think you're going to enjoy this film, and I'm sure I may download it illegally and watch it again in a couple weeks, and probably get a better viewpoint. But so far, I liked it. Not the greatest, definitely not the worst, and it is a step in the right direction.
Yes, it is.
It is definitely a step in world building in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's it for this time. Until next time, peace, bitches.